The Justin Robert Young Daily Program, brought to you as always by everybody who supports us at payjurydaily.com. Also, we've got JuRY Daily pin sets. We've got t-shirts for you and me. We've got a lot of things that you're gonna want at Stickers or DIAF. Hey, no more free shipping, but you do have an opportunity to go get these things before they go. And I'm telling you, stuff like the Night Attack pin set, we are dangerously close to those things totally going away for good, because we are getting close to the limit of what I bought. And once I'm gone, friends, they're gone. Head on over there right now. Stickers or DIAF.com. But enough of talking about how we support the show. What do you say we just do the damn thing? Welcome to another edition of the JuRY Daily Program. This is the November 27th, 2018 edition of the program. All right, we got a lot to go through, so I'm going to start hot. Went to go get my Christmas tree last night. Christmas tree here for you and me. It's me, Ashley, and the birds. We get a Christmas tree every year. At the beginning of our relationship, Ashley and I got into a little bit of a tiff, a little bit of a fight, a little bit of a disagreement, a separation of the minds, if you will, because I very much love and treasure a real tree. I love real trees. I think real trees are delightful. I think they smell good. I like decorating them. There is something that I like about a real tree that will never, ever, ever be replaced by some plastic piece of fucking garbage that could also light on fire and kill everybody. So, Ashley liked a fake tree. Thankfully, she wisely understood that my position would not budge, and now every year we get a real tree. That being said, there was a thing in the pre-daily version. I don't know why that was about to be very country. In the pre-daily version of this program, there was a conversation I had. Because I believe that there is a little bit of a process to getting a tree. You want to get the tree as soon after Thanksgiving as you possibly can. And then for the next couple days, you let it settle. This is a very important part of the tree process, because the tree gets bound up when you pick it up from the place. And then you got to give it a couple days so it just settles into the area that you're going to decorate it in. It settles into the climate of your house. There's a lot of elements. There's a climatological argument for the tree settling for a few days. And for whatever reason, people got real up in arms last year about the fact that this is fake news. My wife is right now in the chat telling me that it's fake news, that trees don't settle. Well, I'm here to let you know that my tree right now is currently settling. It's currently settling in the corner of our room. So if you have any problem with it, or if you agree with me that settling is certainly something that trees do, then let me know. Rob wrote in with a couple questions about the time change. We are now recording this a little bit later in the day. He has asked me to read the following questions that I will answer as quickly as possible. Rob, I have a few questions about your stream time change. I have laid them out below. Why did you start streaming later in the day? I started streaming later in the day so I could have more time in the morning for a few projects that I am currently working on, not the least of which is getting all this merchandise out from the stickers or DIAF sale. What does this mean for me? Rob asks. Well, if you watched in the morning and that was the only time you were going to be able to watch was in the morning, then you might not be able to watch in the morning anymore. You won't be able to watch in the morning anymore. If you never were able to watch because you never had time during what is both on the East Coast and the West Coast work hours, then now you'll be able to watch. We start streaming at 6 o'clock East Coast time, which is prime time. Normally, it's when people are getting back, and this is when they're making dinner. They're doing stuff that you would like to have background noise on. So you'll be able to do it. What time will you be streaming? From here on out, for at least for the holiday season, I am streaming at 3 p.m. Pacific time for JuRY Daily, and then Politics will come after it. In fact, we're kind of we're doing that no matter what. After JuRY Daily, I'm going to be writing the free political newsletter, which you can get at freepoliticalnewsletter.com, right here on stream. So we're talking politics while we're finding cool stories and assigning cool gifts to them. Will this affect the cost of the newsletter? No. The newsletter, here, now, and forever, will be $0. It is indeed the free political newsletter. Does more time still equal less time? Yes. More time still equals less time. Are you going to shave? Probably clean up my cheeks, maybe a little bit of the neck, and I might even bring the big beard down a little bit, but no significant shaving is in the offing. How many fucks did you give today? Not a lot. What does this mean for the hype train? The hype train will still be at 10 a.m. Pacific time. That remains in the morning. It's the only morning stream I'm going to do because I'm not trying to work Friday afternoons. Will you still be on TMS? Yes, my TMS appearances will remain unchanged on Tuesday. In fact, this Tuesday, I was on the morning stream with Scott Johnson and Brian Ibbett, and Scott Johnson tried to convince me that everybody in the Netflix series Bodyguard, which is British, that everybody was calling each other mum during the entire very, very tense police procedural. So that's weird. They're not saying mum, they're saying ma'am, and I was proven right. Is this change approved by Dr. Bird? In fact, Dr. Bird loves this change because it means he gets more freedom throughout the day. Is this a shameless money grab? If somebody can please explain to me how I can make money on this time change, please let me know. I'm very, very, very much open to knowing that. Thanks for your time, says Rob. If it helps, I'm white. Thank you, Rob. I'm glad that we were able to offer this FAQ. Here's a question that I have for everybody else. So, I'm pumped for Aquaman now? I know what you're thinking. I know. I'm as confused about it as all of you are. I was not expecting to be interested or excited about Aquaman. It might be the movie that I would be least excited about on the planet. The DC universe to me has largely been a bunch of movies that I like making fun of, and then Wonder Woman, which I liked. And Jason Momoa is an acquired taste. You know, I think he's got a fairly limited range, and that range is Jason Momoa. Here's my favorite Jason Momoa story. One of the years that my erstwhile father, who's Michael Rooker, was on the Night Attack Dragon Con panel. He was going to come to our after party. And I'm like, hey, man, here's the after party. Here's where we're going. And he's Michael Rooker, and he's the nicest guy. Very, very nice, but very intense. He's got an energy to him. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah. Oh, shit, man. Shit. I can't. Why? Oh, I'm hanging out with Jason. Jason who? Jason Momoa? You know? I'm like, Khal Drogo from Game of Thrones? Yeah. They work out together. I mean, come on. Come on. I'm like, I'm going to ditch my own fucking after party. I'm going with you. But initially, when the Aquaman trailer launched, I was like, I know, I kind of might be into this. I kind of might fuck with this Aquaman movie. Because, to be totally honest, it kind of looked like a feature-length Old Spice commercial. It looked ridiculous. It looked insane. And also, it looked fun, which is something that the DC universe has not had a lot. And then there's this news, which came out yesterday. Apparently, the moratorium lifted on all the press screenings that happened about 2 weeks ago on spoiler-free reviews about Aquaman. And they're great. They're really good. They're people are like, yeah, it's really fun, and it might be DC's best movie. You know, since the new regime. But also, like, it shows you how close we came to something awful. Like, imagine if you tried to do a deadly serious Aquaman movie. Like, it would probably be stupid. I mean, you can. There's only so much gray you can make water. And if Zack Snyder's was still running the show, it would have just been like shooting through a muddy, brackish pond. I believe that this is a James Wan joint, Aquaman. Jason Momoa is reprising his role as Aquaman, as introduced in the Justice League movie. But it looks really fun. It looks really good. I don't know what else to say about it. I really don't. Except am I pumped? I think I'm pumped. I was so pumped that I read the reviews and I immediately went to go see whether or not tickets were available on for the Alamo Draft House. Because this is a Draft House movie. This is one of those movies I want to be around a crowd. I want to be around a lot of people that are like, yo, that fish punched that dude in the nuts. I swear to God, if Aquaman has a scene where a fish punches a dude in the nuts, I'll get up out of my seat. I'll be like when people get really excited at Showtime at the Apollo and they just like get up out of their seat and start walking toward the exit. That's what I'll do. I want, and if they don't have a scene where a fish punches a dude in the nuts, then there ought to be. I'm tempted to just fucking start emailing people that I know might have seen this movie. Did Jeff Kanata see this movie? Somebody search Jeff Kanata's Twitter. See if he saw this movie. I will fucking text Jeff Kanata right now and ask him whether or not, one question, yes or no, does a fish punch a dude in the nuts in Aquaman? We got to find this out. I'm going to try and find this out by tomorrow's show. I'm going to start emailing around. I need my movie critic friends to help me out on this one. All right, let's get into your emails. You can always email us, jurydaily@gmail.com. Again, that is jurydaily@gmail.com. Big Jim writes, ooh, shit, wait, before we get into that, Peds25 in the chat says, what if a dude punches a fish in the nuts? I say save it for the sequel, right? Like, why not? Like, you gotta have, you mean, like, there has to be a point in which you're building to something. How do you build off what will surely be the most memorable part of this film, wherein a fish punches a guy in the nuts, than to have a guy punch a fish in the nuts in the sequel? But that's just me. But maybe that'll be the third act. Because you can't do it the other way around, right? You know, if you're going to build for dramatic tension, you can't have a man push a... I mean, like, that's a man's been punching fish in the nuts for years. Rare be it a time when a fish punches a man in the nuts. That's the real man bites dog of this scenario. Big Jim writes us, "Hey, Justin, I don't travel much anymore, but when I used to, the airports that were the biggest pain in the neck for me were Detroit and Charlotte. Detroit because the connections were always at least 45-minute maximum, and you had to run one concourse to another through the Rainbow Hall of Doom, barely able to make your flight." Now, I'm going to step in here and say that I have not been to Detroit a lot, but if you're talking about the Rainbow Hallway of Doom, a.k.a. the P. Diddy Hallway, then I think you're talking about the Chicago International Airport. That's O'Hare. O'Hare has the Rainbow Hallway of Doom. It's a gigantic hallway. And there's a bunch of, like, slowly flickering rainbow neon things. We continue with Big Jim. Charlotte is worse because you have to go from one end of the concourse to the other in 30 minutes with no trams, no assistance, and no quick food option, and no walkways. What the hell? Also, the best major airport, in my opinion, is still Atlanta. Lots of options for clubs, lots of options for food, lots of places that just stretch out. If it helps, I'm white and also old. So, I irrationally loved Charlotte. Number one, because it was an airport that I went to when I was a kid. When I was a younger man. Because it was the connection up to New York from South Florida. And I then, now, and forever always refer to Charlotte as Charlotte, woo, North Carolina. Because, shout out to the GOAT. But the thing that I love about Charlotte as an adult is this. There is a hallway in Charlotte demonstrating all the movies that have been shot in Charlotte. And some of them are very famous. Yeah, I think you got the Hunger Games in there. You've got a few very famous movies. But then you have, for whatever reason, it never failed to delight me that this is the one place, and I always wonder if more movies are shooting in Charlotte, when this movie will get bumped off the Hall of Fame. Juwanna Mann. I think I even have a picture of me pointing to the Juwanna Mann poster because I was always so excited whenever I saw it. Juwanna Mann, the cross-dressing basketball comedy Juwanna Mann, shot in Charlotte. So I will always love Charlotte for that reason. If I can find this picture of me pointing at the Juwanna Mann poster, I'll put it up on my Instagram, Justin R. Young. Kevin writes, listening to you and Brian talk about travel tips on the November 21st episode was literally one of the most useful 30-minute podcasts I've ever listened to. I rewinded the show 10 minutes and made my girlfriend listen. We're traveling to Utah next spring, and we'll use all of this. Thanks, homie. I'll tell you what. That might be something that Brian and I should look into doing more of for his Modern Rogue channel, because I do think that there is a lot of, there's a lot of travel stuff. There's definitely a lot of travel things that, when you travel a lot, you kind of take it for granted. But if you very rarely travel, these are very valuable lessons that you're never going to learn. All right, I asked people to talk about old porn habits. Mike writes, back in the 70s, we used to check out a movie projector from our college library to watch porn. My roommate worked at a seedy motel and found a big box of 8mm porn films. He'd bring them home, and we'd watch them in his room in the house that was a den of sorts. I remember coming home late one night and passing by the room. It had the familiar sound of a movie projector running and a fap, 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 fap noise coming from it. Yes, my roommate was spanking it in the middle of the night. Always a source of comedy. JuRY writes, like many, I'm sure, my 7th grade friends and I had the 2 or 3 Playboys that we procured in various ways and looked at after school at somebody else's yard or treehouse. But I have one secret that I've never shared with anyone until today, not even those friends. One day around the same time, I had seen those tasteful nudes next to the articles we ignored. I came across a box tucked away deep in a closet at home. In this box were 4 reels of 8mm film. Yes, friends, not one, but 2 stories of 8mm reel-to-reel porn. On these films were tiny, tiny frames. When I held them up to the light, I could just make them out. As I unspooled the film, the silent story unfolded, and I was shocked. Shocked at what I saw. I'd seen boobs before and even medical pictures of genitals in encyclopedias. Kids, ask your parents. But this was full-on, close-up, hardcore penetration. This is where working in the AV club finally paid off. I knew how to work a projector. I just had to find one that played this film. Sadly, there wasn't one in the house. So using my know-how, some Legos, and a lens from an SLR camera, I made my own. I would never get it to project on a wall, but I built a rig that had the lens in a vertical position so I could look down into it and magnify the tiny 8mm image into something mostly visible. I could never get a motor hooked up that fed the film for me, so instead I had to slowly tug, his words, not mine, on the film manually while I did the same to myself. Oh my God. Now that is why we have the best fucking emailers in the game right now, son. Windwalker writes, comparing my comparisons to the fact that I am just a bearded, long-winded cam girl. Windwalker says, in reference to Monday's show, you missed Patreon. You talked about premium snaps and sites, but a lot of women have Patreons with rewards being different levels of nudity. Some are cosplayers, but if you get the maximum level Patreon, they are often naked. On Instagram, both Stormy and Fuchsia, that's number 5 UCIA, not familiar, they have messages telling that they've been reported for audits. They have both reacted to this, saying that they do pay their taxes, as this is their career. I remember growing up as a teenager in the UK, getting a hold of porn was hard. Magazines over the counter and newsagents are just basically nudes or stories. I remember sneaking into my parents' room and looking at my dad's porn that was hidden in his bedside table. Sex shops are illegal in the UK, and Summers gets around the law by selling marital aids. No wonder we fucking had to bone out of that fucking country. We had to go to a place where there was legal-ass porn. And finally, Justin wrote in my reference that this is a real fuck-around time of year. Yo, we're not all lazy shits who phone it in between Thanksgiving and the second week of January. I audit information systems with a CPA firm, and my calendar is fucked until March. Thanks, Senator Sarbanes and Representative Oxley. For full disclosure, I should note that we're actually closed from December 21st to January 2nd. Kind of makes my first paragraph seem whiny. So whatever you do, don't read this second paragraph on the podcast. Oops. Signed, Justin, CPA, CISA, and CISSP. He adds that he gets paid a bonus for each designation. You want to go ahead and keep writing in? Well, then go ahead and do it. JuRYDaily@gmail.com or on YouTube. Just go ahead and write a little comment on this here video. I want to thank our grand jury for today being called to the box. It is Bill, Dustin, Middle-Aged Mike, BioCal, Robert H., Brian C., and Trey the Melodica Man. If you want to become a part of their ranks, head on over to payjurydaily.com. If you want some sweet jury merch, politics merch, Night Attack merch, head on over to stickers or DIAF.com. Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat @JustinRYoung, and join our Discord at bit.ly/JuryDiscord. Ladies and gentlemen, until tomorrow, please give a round of applause to Mr. Wacky. And please don't Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.